Hello, this is Preston Van Dunk, here to talk about wearable technology and the motivation for its selection, which is actually a fairly huge topic in today's world and today's market because there's just so many products that are on the market for which an individual could possibly buy. So, one thing that I'm going to be looking at when I do my final paper is the contrast across multiple industries. If you look at, for example, the healthcare industry and you look at even the fitness industry, which is technically a related industry to the healthcare, you find that people who are strictly concerned with fitness and not so much in health will actually have different motivations. People that are more trying to be into fitness, a lot of times they'll actually go and look for the most stylish sort of smartwatch they can find or heartbeat tracker. But then you can also go into law enforcement agencies where there's newly emerging technologies having to do with gauging the speed of cars that are actually wearable by cops. And there's also glasses that can help teachers. Whereas these aren't the most common type of technology that users often buy, they are prominent in the world today. And these eyeglass users, trends find that they're actually a little bit less concerned usually with the type of appearances that they uphold and more concerned with the actual specifications and the capabilities of the device and how quick it is to when it accesses the internet to provide information. I'm also planning on going into topics such as the changes to technology and which changes buyer expectations. More is expected to meet minimal expectations in a constantly evolving market. So, when wearable technology first came out, there was an idea that anything at all that could be provided by wearable technology, any sort of motion tracking, or just the fact that a traditional item such as a watch could connect to the internet, would actually cause users to become excited about it and they would be willing to purchase those items for the sole fact that it was wearable technology. But moving forward a few years later, there are many types of wearable technology that are not impressive to users, such as users who aren't impressed with the Series Zero iWatch when contrasted and compared with the Series 2 iWatch. And also, I included this graph, this chart, to explain the progression of just tools in general and technology over the years, such as how 2 million BC there was only stone tools that were used, and now there's been an extreme progression to wearable technology. So, for example, if you today saw someone using a stone tool, you wouldn't be impressed at all. And the same principle applies to some extent to the how wearable technology has progressed over the last few years. And with an increased sales in the industry come market changes. A market is targeted by more and more companies, which is becoming more and more saturated. So you can see in this chart that Samsung has over 1 million sales, where Asus has only 120,000 sales. And there's all sorts of companies in between, such as Sony with 550,000. But what you can't see in this graph is the thousands of companies who have attempted to saturate the market even more. Companies who have released products and where you can find them usually in minor stores. But with all these releases, oftentimes brand names prevail. People go with the brands they're most familiar with what they see on TV. And studies show that users will actually, the average user will go more with a brand name that they're familiar with and with a style that looks cool to them and things that they've seen other people wear than the technology that actually has the most capabilities, or even the technology that's the most cost effective. So they'll usually put trends above what will actually serve them the best. Another thing that's interesting to look at is the mandated specifications of products as per government regulations. The specifications must be reasonably accurate, and manufacturers must provide an accurate description of how personal data will be used. So this is for security purposes. And users oftentimes do not look at this data and they're not very concerned with it. Current studies actually suggest that there are sex differences that mandate certain trends and cause certain users to buy items that the other sex wouldn't necessarily be likely to buy, especially in the professional user sphere. When you look at users who are using it for their profession, such as doctors, you begin to notice that a female employee wearing a Google Glass might benefit from the gender stereotype of law technology competence. And this was actually found during research that showed that women who are using the technology, they're often seen as less competent, so then they'll go for higher looking models. They'll go for better looking models in order to seem more competent. And this is actually an unfortunate trend because, of course, women are equally competent. But this is just how gender stereotyping affects the market. And my main references for this was a study by Wu Langfan, and it was actually fairly extensive. So this has been about wearable technology. Preston Van Dunk signing off.